Hello, I have the enormous pleasure to be in Dubai physically with Joel Van Dusen from Mashreq Bank. Joel, welcome.
Thank you very much.
It's great to be here in person. Are you enjoying being back in the office?
I most certainly am. It's good to see people again.
Yeah, well,
in person.
Likewise, very much the same thing.
Well, COVID-19 is truly unprecedented. So the impact has been extraordinary, and I think many companies have had to respond in drastic ways. So clearly, from a banking perspective, interest rates are down. Banks have been affected not only on the revenue side, but also on the provision side. Many of the company sectors have also been impacted, particularly travel, hospitality, aviation. And I think the companies themselves have responded really in four key ways. So first and foremost, they don't know what the true demands are going to be. Now, interestingly, we have a merchant acquiring point of sale business. Mm-hmm. So we see the credit card and debit card swipes in the UAE, and the businesses are rebounding. So we're seeing retail in general sort of off maybe 20-25% from last year's numbers. We see the auto side being off maybe 10%, and frankly, some of the food and grocery store sectors are actually up from last year. So each company has responded differently. I think one of the very good things is that governments around the world have responded quickly to the pandemic, and in particular, the UAE has been very responsive with a fairly aggressive stimulus package, which has helped. That's a good question. So I think the central bank moves have been very, very important to business continuity. There was the targeted economic support scheme that the government put in place. Now, this was a large program, and it provided guidance as to how banks can help companies from a lending perspective. And it also provided a fair amount of liquidity into the marketplace. In total, the stimulus package was $256 billion. So that has been instrumental in keeping business continuity in the positive territory. One other thing I should mention is that the UBF has been working very closely with the central bank. You may know that His Excellency Abdulaziz Al Ghurair is the chairman not only of Mashreq Bank, but also the chairman of UBF. And that group has taken a collective response and has provided guidance to the central bank and has really helped the banking sector respond in the best way possible to supporting companies. Sure. So the $256 billion of support was broken down into four categories. One of the categories is zero-cost funding for banks, which allowed the banks to extend those benefits to corporations and allow for deferrals of principal, deferral of interest. The governor had a meeting, of the central bank had a meeting in September and indicated that 100,000 consumers have benefited, some 1,500 corporates have benefited, and about 15,000 small businesses in the UAE have benefited. So it's been very instrumental to continuity and business continuity in the region. Mashreq in general, we've spent a lot of time and energy on digital transformation, and we've accomplished quite a bit that we're proud of. If you first look at the branches, today we have transformed the branch network into digital self-help kiosks and flagship retail stores, retail branches that target Mashreq Gold. This has actually caused a lot of the corporations that we do business with, it used to be manual, and has driven them to our digital platforms, Mashreq Matrix. We've seen a lot of progress during COVID. We found that companies embrace digital technologies. We found that the companies that previously were operating on a very manual basis became quite active on our Mashreq Matrix platform. That platform now, we're proud to indicate, has actually achieved 90% digital transactions.
Wow. So
the success has been so good, in fact, that by January 1st, we're going to move to 100% digital for our clients.
And this is voluntarily? Do they get a choice in this?
This is actually in response to what they want.
Yeah,
so
brilliant.
it's become much more efficient for them. There's been cost savings for them by doing this, and I think they've realized one of the responses that the corporations have had to the pandemic in general has been to reduce costs, but to actually reduce costs in a good way, to actually look at their supply chain, look at how they undertake their business, and so we're actually helping them save money across the platform. The other digital component of that we're working on is our internal journeys. So one of the key learnings and takeaways was that coming out of COVID, the digital transformation that we have been embarking on and the digital platforms that we're building have been very helpful from a client experience perspective. So yes, it's been efficient for them. It's actually saved them money, but it's also been easier. And so the client experience component has increased. And so we're looking to digitize many of the client journeys that where the companies touch, where the companies touch banks. So another area that for example, to point out is that we've been working with the region's first blockchain-based KYC platform. That is up and running in partnership with DIFC and Norblock, and it's been very successful. So now there's another digital avenue that companies can onboard into the banking system very efficiently. I think the way I think about it is COVID-19 in particular has accelerated trends that were already in place. It's no secret that the banking industry is under dramatic change, and COVID actually has just accelerated that. So clients are wanting a more digital experience, an easier to use, more customer-friendly experience. The other aspect of what's happening is that fintechs are disintermediating the banking business in general. So if you look at the mortgage business or supply chain finance, trade finance in general, fintechs are making inroads. So it's important that we transform our business to stay competitive. We're doing that for corporates and on the personal side in many ways. So for example, on the SME side, we have NeoBiz, which we've been actively onboarding an increasing number of small and medium enterprises onto that platform. That's all digital, UAE's first digital platform for SMEs. It's actually 1 year old this month. And the performance has been dramatic. So 20% month-on-month growth in deposits, 35% month-on-month growth in revenues for that platform. So we're seeing a lot of uptake. On the consumer side, we have Neo, which is, I think, approaching 100,000 customers at the moment. That's UAE's also first personal digital bank for consumers. And likewise, on the corporate side, the larger corporate side, we have Mashreq Matrix, which we've been adding to its capabilities. We've been digitizing our customer journeys, as I mentioned. So if you think about some of the pain points that clients have had in the past, it's dealing with banks on the credit process, dealing with banks on the digital onboarding and the KYC process. That's all being digitized to make a much simpler, easier, straight-through process for corporate clients. And so that's really the future, and we have to transform ourselves to stay competitive, and we think we've done that very well. I'm very much enjoying it. It's been trial by fire, for sure. We've had this perfect storm of oil prices, COVID, disintermediation with fintechs, all coming together in a more rapid pace. That's what makes the job fascinating. And the nice thing about Mashreq is it's a very nimble, forward-thinking organization, and we're investing in all the right areas to transform the business to be what clients are going to expect for the future.